We often use the word abbreviate, but what does it truly signify from a grammatical perspective? In this analysis, we will move beyond the common definition to construct a more precise and structured understanding of how the process of abbreviating actually functions. To do this, our analysis is structured into 5 distinct parts. We'll begin with the foundational definition. Then, we will examine why that initial understanding is incomplete. From there, we will detail the specific methods of abbreviation, cover the crucial rules for pronunciation and practice, and finally, we'll bring it all together for a comprehensive view.
So, let's begin with Section 1, the foundational definition. We'll consider this our baseline for the analysis.
Traditional grammar defines abbreviate as the verb referring to the action of shortening a word or phrase to create an abbreviation. Now, while this definition is factually correct, it is also fundamentally incomplete. You see, it describes the outcome, but it gives us no insight into the process itself. This very incompleteness brings us directly to our second section, where we will explore what this basic definition misses and why a deeper analysis is truly necessary for a full understanding.
So the crucial question becomes, what does this simple definition fail to explain? Well, primarily, it almost entirely omits the how. It doesn't specify the actual methods that are used to shorten a word or phrase.
To be specific, the traditional definition suffers from several key omissions. First, it provides no detail on the method of abbreviation. It also overlooks that most abbreviations are of proper names or specialized terms. It fails to account for distinct types like acronyms. It doesn't include the shortening of calendar years, and it completely ignores the widespread practice of contractions.
In Section 3, we will resolve this ambiguity. We'll do this by systematically breaking down the distinct methods of abbreviation. This section is the core of our analysis. Grammatically, the act of abbreviating falls into 3 core methods: truncation, the creation of acronyms, and the use of apostrophe forms. Let's now break down each one.
The first method is truncation. This is the process of shortening a word to its first 3 or 4 letters, typically followed by a period. This form is common in scholarly texts, dictionaries, or for the days of the week, primarily as a tool for writing efficiency and to save space. It's interesting to see how such practices can evolve. The abbreviation for the U.S. state of Wisconsin, for instance, began as the truncation WISC with a period. It was later shortened further to WIS and has now been standardized as the 2-letter unpunctuated postal code WI. Our second core method is the acronym. Now, what's important here is that an acronym is a specific type of abbreviation formed from the initial letter of each word in a phrase, or very commonly in the name of an organization. For example, as soon as possible becomes ASIP. The multi-word names of organizations, like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration or the Federal Bureau of Investigation, are shortened to NASA and FBI, respectively.
Our third method involves apostrophe forms. In these cases, an apostrophe acts as a placeholder to indicate missing characters. This method actually covers 2 distinct practices: replacing letters in contractions and replacing digits in calendar years.
For instance, the 2 words cannot contract to can't, where the apostrophe replaces the letters N and O. Similarly, we will becomes will. In the case of a calendar year, 1992 is abbreviated to 92, with the apostrophe standing in for the omitted 19.
Having established the methods, we now turn to Section 4, pronunciation and practice. A critical point is that the rules for how an abbreviation is spoken are specific to its form. They are not all pronounced the same way. This table illustrates the distinct rules of speech quite clearly. When you see a truncation, like fry, you say the full word, Friday. It's purely a written convention. Acronyms, however, are different. An initialism like FBI is pronounced by saying each letter, FBI. But an acronym that forms a pronounceable word, like NASA, is spoken as that word, NASA. Finally, apostrophe forms like can't or 92 are pronounced exactly as they're written, in their shortened form.
Now, in our 5th and final section, we can see how these details build to a more complete picture. The methods and pronunciation rules we discussed allow us to formulate a refined, comprehensive definition.
So we arrive at this more accurate definition. To abbreviate is the action of shortening a word, name, term, phrase, or calendar year by eliminating letters, sometimes adding periods or apostrophes to indicate that a change has occurred. This definition successfully incorporates the nuances of method and form that the traditional one omits.
We will conclude with a final question for consideration. Given the rapid evolution we have already observed, particularly in recent decades, how might the continued development of digital communication further transform the rules and forms of abbreviation in the years to come?